We are back. It's what Scott D'Amore, the president of Impact Wrestling, bellowed at the end of last night's Bound for Glory, announcing that Impact Wrestling from next year will once again be known as TNA Wrestling. Adam, of all the things that we were expecting to happen at Bound for Glory, maybe a clobbering time type thing, this wasn't on the cards, was it?
It certainly wasn't. And I'm amazed, really, that I've not heard a single rumbling about this. They've got a pretty big roster. I thought something might let slip if this was going to be announced, but they've kept it all under wraps. I'm totally buzzing about this. I think it's an absolutely fantastic idea. And I just finished rewatching, in fact, the video package that they put together with the current roster, as well as clips of old school TNA. And it really made me feel something. I'm absolutely chuffed about it.
Is this the video package they played at the end of the night?
It is, yes. They've uploaded it to their official YouTube channel if you want to check it out after this one.
Oh, I will do, because it's the one that I didn't realise was an important video package. If you joined us on the live reactions, thank you for doing so. The screen faded to black after Alex Shelley defended the title. I signed off, and all of a sudden, TNA's back.
Couldn't have gone better, Tom. Well done.
This is why you don't leave me to stream on my own. Hey, look, there is reasons for why this has happened. We're going to get to those in a moment. From the press release that followed this massive announcement, Impact Wrestling President Scott D'Amore said, "We still hear the TNA chants wherever we go. Fans have longed for TNA Wrestling, so that's what we're bringing back in 2024. TNA Hard to Kill will be the first TNA pay-per-view of this bold new era on January 13th, 2024. So it's going to stay as Impact Wrestling until January 13th, when TNA Hard to Kill, appropriately so, will emanate from Palm Casino Resort in Las Vegas, Nevada, and that will be where we start calling it TNA again. There's a lot of questions.
I never stopped.
Do you know what?
About this.
There's a lot of people that never stopped.
It's hard, isn't it? Because, Walter to Gunther, got used to it fairly quickly. Pete Dunne to Butch, got used to it fairly quickly. I still slip quite often with TNA because it was so special to so many fans. A lot of us grew up with that, especially here in the UK as well. It was more accessible a lot of the time than WWE. It was easier to watch. So a lot of people caught those glory years of TNA. We've got a bit of information from PW Insider on when this name change was decided. And I alluded to this a moment ago, saying I'm surprised they kept this under wraps because they've been talking about this for some time, saying this was a move that wasn't made without a lot of planning. And at one point, the announcement was tentatively slated to be made back at Slammiversary before it was pushed back to Bound for Glory. The final decision to flip the switch back to TNA was locked in about 2 or 3 weeks ago.
So why the name change? For obvious reasons, but they break them down via PW Insider. They were told by an Impact source, I guess we'll call them a TNA source soon, the decision was made for several reasons. One, that it would unite the fragmented history of the promotion, sometimes known as Impact, sometimes known as NWA TNA, sometimes known as TNA, for a brief weird time known as Global Force Wrestling, and it brings it all together doing that way. The other reason is, as you've said, a lot of people never stop calling it TNA. In fact, some of the major international partners of Impact Wrestling still internally called it TNA. There was also a fan poll that was done on the quiet in which some of the long-term fans even said they wouldn't be against the name becoming TNA once again. The best part of all of this is that this isn't something that has been decided. This goes back even further than Slammiversary, because PW Insider, as Adam's going to tell you, had said that this was something that they wanted to do back in 2020.
For sure, there was a lot of TNA nostalgia in 2020 when they brought back the TNA title with Moose as the first title holder. You'll remember that, of course. And the original plan was for TNA to have a separate TV series. So it'd be Impact Wrestling presents TNA. But COVID stalled that, and ultimately they were dropped. So instead of essentially 2 different promotions, as it was, you'll now just see the rebrand as it is happening now. With the name itself, I know a lot of people, because Impact is a really cool name, right? And TNA, if you say that to a non-wrestling fan, they're probably not going to think of Total Non-Stop Action. I think of some of these and one of those. I do think the nostalgia is probably more important than that at this case. Maybe what were your thoughts on it?
Well, as you say, so many people still call it TNA, even during some real weird, murky stages of the company. That name stood. LOL TNA was a bit of a Reddit thing for a while. The idea of something like that, LOL TNA, we still kind of call it TNA in both a loving way and in a bit of a post-ironic way. So I have nothing but love for Impact Wrestling leaning completely into it and going, all right, we'll just be TNA again. Like, that's absolutely the most, it makes the most marketing sense as far as I'm concerned.
And
the excitement of it is not just for us, but also with the wrestlers as well. Because Scott D'Amore was so animated when delivering. All he said was on the pay-per-view was, "We're back," with the roster, some of the roster of Impact Wrestling around him. But then there's video footage that's leaked when the cameras went off, where he gives this impassioned speech full of what we would loosely call effing and jeffing, where he really sells us on the name change, and not that he needed to,
And I think this has the opportunity to bring back a lot of TNA fans that might have stopped watching, not because it became Impact, but people just drop off naturally. That's the way things work. And this will maybe reignite a bit of interest there. I would certainly hope so. One thing I always struggled with was Impact Wrestling presents Impact. It would be like, oh, are you going to watch WWE presenting WWE? Not having a separate... I always thought that was a bizarre thing. So, TNA presenting Impact Wrestling. That's the name of the show now. It's not the promotion and the show. You're going to watch Impact presented by the promotion TNA. So that's good. So what's next, Tom?
So here's the timeline. We're going to stay as Impact for the rest of this year. If you're coming to Turning Point in Newcastle or you're part of the UK Invasion Tour, it will still be Impact. There'll be a behind-the-scenes transition to make everything into TNA. January 14th will be the date when everything officially... Sorry, January 13th will be the date when it officially becomes TNA once again. There will be, once we get to January 13th, brand new belts. The Impact World title will be replaced by the TNA Championship. The Impact Knockouts title will be replaced by the TNA Knockouts title, and so on and so forth. They are ready for this, right? PW Insider reporting that the new belts have been crafted, they've been produced, they're ready to go, they're in a box, they will reveal them in January. They have been so organized in all of this. They intend to move forward with the same storylines, the same talent, the same style of wrestling, but they will just be TNA going forward. Shows will be branded as TNA. The titles will be branded as TNA. There is one bit that people may see as bad news.
No, not me. I know what you're talking about here, because a lot of fans do love it, right? We're talking about the six-sided ring. It's not coming back. There are zero plans to return to the old six-sided ring. This is according to PW Insider again. Not even discussed as just about every talent with the company. And everybody who's ever worked there found the six-sided ring to be a bit more difficult on their bodies. And to me, I get it, right? I think it added a unique style of presentation. You knew you were watching TNA because you see the wide... And hey, it's a six-sided ring. Not many other places do that. As far as the wrestling action goes, it doesn't really open many new opportunities for spots, and people did just find it harder. I remember reading, I feel like it was Raven or something like, I think it was Raven, saying like, the six-sided ring, the way that it's constructed is just sort of, it's harder on your body. It's not as easy to bump in. And practically all of the talent that I've ever heard talk about it did not enjoy it. So yeah, it would be cool. And maybe do it as a one-off on a pay-per-view or something. Get it out of the garage and stick it out. And that'd be a nice way of doing things. But to me, I don't think it added anything other than something a bit different aesthetically.
But just be that as it may, it is a really exciting time. I think this is going to really make Impact into something to watch, especially next year. I know you might think that seems a bit of an over-exaggeration for changing a name, but this is leaning back into such deeply rooted history, and we do forget about how deep the history runs. 20 years of it. And to rebrand it as TNA, I think it redefines it. I think it reaffirms it. I think it galvanizes it. I think this is an incredible step forward for
sure.
Impact Wrestling.
I mean, it's sort of become, Impact has become one of the best kept secrets in wrestling because people have dropped off. And I don't think this is about making things completely different, because actually the product that they're putting out is really solid. You'll have seen that if you watched Bound for Glory last night with Tom.
Oh, yeah.
You'll have seen that if you watch the weekly shows. This is about, I think, getting people back on board with what they are doing, what they have continued to do for a long time. It's been a long time since the Hulk Hogan, Eric Bischoff, Vince Russo eras. That's not what this is about. This isn't about changing up the product. The product's already good. This is just about getting more eyes on that product. And you know what we got to do now, Tom? You're going to be an official Impact ring announcer in a week's time, mate. A week's time.
Oh, blimey.
After that's done, we got to manifest it all over again. You've got to be an official TNA ring announcer. It's going to happen. I'm
going to put it on my posters regardless.
Yeah, cool.
Just going to get I want to get a Bit Crunch TNA logo on all my posters regardless, like any self-respecting British wrestler would.
I love the fact that you've got posters in mind. Just around Northumberland Street. Tom, I did this. Not announcing anything, not advertising anything.
100%.
Grand.
There's going to be more details about this. Scott D'Amore is doing a Q&A on Impact's Facebook page on Tuesday at 12 p.m. Eastern, so no doubt we'll have more holes filled in this story then, but we'll have the latest as we get it at cultaholic.com. Our top story, our only story, is TNA is back. Impact Wrestling set to rebrand as TNA Wrestling in 2024. What a time to be alive. Stay safe. Love you. Bye.